Hey guys, it's Penguin here, and welcome back to another gold making video. In this video, we're going to be talking about 5 things that I wish I knew when I was starting out doing gold making. Now, these 5 things are kind of going to be categories. Some of them will be like mindset, some of them will be actual in-game tips. Just in general, these are 5 things that I wish somebody actually told me whenever I was first starting out. Now, of course, a lot of these things people probably already know, and of course, by the title of this video, this is for beginners. So if you are a more seasoned gold maker, you will probably know all of this. However, you can of course watch this video if you want to know some tips yourself or possibly pass them on to some friends. But yeah, the purpose of this video is to just give you guys a little bit more guidance and hopefully maybe validate some feelings that you might be feeling if you're a beginner gold maker. But without further ado, we're going to get right into this video and I hope you enjoy. So the first topic I want to talk about is diversifying. Now, you go onto a Discord or you look up best ways to make gold in 9.1 or soon 9.2, stuff like that. And even myself, like if people ask, legendaries is always what comes up. However, legendaries is not the only thing that makes gold, and honestly, all professions make gold. And so a lot of people, when they're new to gold making, a lot of people ask, what is the best profession to start gold making? Like, what's the best crafting profession? But ultimately, I feel like you should just be trying to get all professions that you can. I mean, I can throw up a screenshot right now of what my current auction house looks like in terms of sold items. And there's probably, I'm not looking at it right at this moment, but there's probably missives, enchants, items from like gear items from tailoring, blacksmithing, potions, all of that. And all of those are separate professions. So ultimately, I think one of your biggest goals as a beginner is diversifying and unlocking all professions. Now, to give you guys a little bit more guidance, there are 8 plus cooking, so technically 9 crafting professions. I am not including mining, herbalism, or skinning, since those are gathering. But if you need all 8 professions, that means you need 4 characters. And specifically for Shadowlands, that means you need 4 characters that are level 48 and above. Now, of course, if you are new to the game and not just new to gold making, that might be a little bit too crazy of an amount, but if you are somebody who has been playing for a while, but you're just getting into gold making, you probably have at least 2 to all 4 toons available. So, what I would say to you, each profession should cost no more than 15,000 gold to level, while some of them are in the 5k mark. So I think instead of asking what is the best profession to level up, I would say all of them. The more diversified stock that you have on the auction house, the more stable sales you will get. For example, if you had 100 of each enchant on the auction house versus 20 of each potion, 20 of each enchant, 20 of each missives, you will probably see more sales with the missives, potions, and enchants because those are 3 completely different markets than just having your gold all in, one area or enchants. So honestly, that is my first advice to you. The best thing you can do, definitely if you want to get into professions, is make sure you try to get 4 characters, get all of those professions, and of course, do not forget about cooking. It is a secondary profession, which you can just put onto your main character or whoever you'd like. Moving on, we have tip number 2, which is do not be afraid to use your gold. Now, I am a very bad person at this. To this day, I still struggle to invest all of my gold. However, I was really, really bad about this when I first started gold making back in Legion, and it hurt me very, very badly. What I mean by this is a lot of us, or at least in my personal experience, I would like to set goals for myself. And once I kind of hit that goal, I really did not want to quote unquote move backwards. So I kind of set that as like a threshold. For example, whenever I hit my first 100K, that is the 6-digit mark, I really did not want to go under 100K, which is a very valid point. I also did this when I first hit 1 million. I really just did not want to fall below that million mark since it was a big milestone. However, what happens is once you say that you are no longer able to go down at that threshold, you're basically starting over from scratch again. What I mean by that is, let's say you have 5,000 gold, then you have 5,000 gold to spend. Hopefully you can make some profit. Now let's say you are in this mindset that I was, where you don't want to start losing gold, so you kind of set that threshold point. And let's say I have 105K. I'm technically back, even though I have 100K more gold that I could be using and investing. I am still stuck in that mindset that I only have 5K, and I've basically restarted my gold making journey by limiting myself to only 5,000 gold. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Some of you out there probably have felt this before. Who knows? Maybe I'm the only one, but I definitely felt this during Legion, definitely when I was first making my few 100,000. I just set those thresholds and it really set me back. Now, let's say you do have 100,000 gold. Of course, when I mean investing, I don't necessarily mean flipping or long-term investments or anything. I mean simply using that gold to craft. For example, let's say you always craft 200 potions, and let's say those 200 potions cost you 10,000 gold to craft. Then you might be making, let's say, 10,000 gold profit. So you're spending 10K to make 20K or 10K profit. Now what happens is, let's say every single day you are running out of those 200 potions and you're ending up, needing to craft more. If you just invest more gold, it might be a heavier cost up front. Let's say you now craft 600 potions. That is now 30,000 gold, which could be a lot if you only have 10K or 50K. But now you are going to be making 30K profit, and hopefully you'll be selling more per day because you're not running out of your stock. So just do not be afraid to use your gold. Ultimately, the gold is there, whether it's just sitting in your pocket or being spent. It's a lot better if you put it into materials, use those materials to make profit. If 100K is just sitting in your bags, waiting until you can, afford a token or something like that, that's a lot of possibility going to waste. Moving on, we have the third point, which is TSM is confusing. That is basically this point. A lot of people come into the Discord in my comments, especially on my TSM videos, and they're like, hey, you explained this really well, but I still just don't understand this topic, or I feel so dumb, I don't understand this, this, and this. And trust me, everybody has had their TSM moment. To this day, I've been using TSM since Legion, and I still don't know everything. There's new updates coming out. There's always better and more efficient ways that you find out how to do things, and it has a very high learning curve. I mean, you can't see the curve that I'm drawing with my finger right now, but it's a very, very high slope at the start, and then it slowly starts to kind of even out once you have the basics under control. So, I don't know who needs to hear this at the moment, but trust me, TSM is confusing, it is complicated, however, it is worth figuring out. My best, tips for you is you can, of course, check out my TSM guides if you would like. A lot of people do enjoy them. However, Samadan is, of course, very much known for his great TSM guides as well. So, if you literally look up how to use TSM, TSM beginner guide, whatever on YouTube, you are bound to find plenty of tutorials, and hopefully one of them will help you out. So TSM is confusing. It has a high learning curve. You are not the only one feeling like this. And of course, if you ever have a question, feel free to reach out to me. I know other creators, if you're watching their tutorials and you still have questions, I'm sure all of them are open to helping you if you join their Discords, comment on their video, etc. We're all here to help you figure this out and just take it slow. Then, kind of in the realm of TSM, to get a little bit more advanced, if you guys haven't checked it out already, I highly recommend learning crafting operations as well as restocking. So a lot of people on my stream or in videos, if they've seen me doing restocking, a lot of people ask me how I'm doing that. And of course, I'll put, a video or some pictures on the screen to show you what I'm talking about. But it's made off of crafting operations, and honestly, crafting operations is probably one of the simplest operations on TSM, besides like mailing, for example. And it saves you a ton of time. I mean, yet again, it literally tells you and calculates your estimated crafting time. It gives you your estimated expenses, your profit, and etc. And so, pulling back to a previous point about diversifying, if you do truly have all 8 professions, it can be daunting going into every single character, queuing up 200 of each potion, 100 of each missives, 200 of or 20 of each enchant, etc., etc., and that can be a very daunting and time-consuming task. However, if you set up crafting operations with the profit that you want and the quantity that you want, at a click of a button, it will queue everything up, and all you have to do is go ahead and restock it and craft those items. It does all the calculations and the, gathering of those information together for you. So, like I said previously, I do have an operations guide, and of course, if you just look up crafting operations tutorial, TSM, on YouTube, you are bound to find a good tutorial. So, I highly recommend getting into crafting operations, even if you do not want to post with TSM. Let's say you're an auctionator user, or you post with the default auction house, which there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I highly recommend trying out the crafting because it's going to save you a lot of time. And then lastly, I kind of talked about this in the first point, but there is a lot more to gold making than legendaries. Especially now when 9.2 is just on the horizon and there's so many people coming into gold making and asking about gold making. It's the Shadowlands expansion, all of that. If you ask somebody most of the time, what way do you make most of your gold, or anything along the lines, what's the best way to make gold in Shadowlands, a lot of people are going to say legendaries. Now, of course, there are some truths to that. However, it's not necessary. I mean, you can make millions without legendaries, and yeah, you can make millions without legendaries without even stepping into that realm. Like I said previously, diversifying is key. People make hundreds of thousands of gold, especially on those fuller pop realms, if you just sell potions, sell enchants, sell, leveling gear, stuff like that. There's so many different ways to make gold. And out of the Shadowlands markets, there is Old World. Previously, a few months ago, I made a video about transmog, specifically Old World transmog, crafted transmog, not farmed, but Old World crafted gear, basically. And I highlighted somebody in the community who, was doing this on multiple servers, and he was bringing in millions of profit a day. He was making multi-millions, and he was not even in Shadowlands markets at all. He was strictly in Old World. So, of course, people say Old World and they shy away from it. Yes, it may take a time investment to start up in these markets, but I mean, if you guys haven't looked into legendaries yet, legendaries definitely has a time commitment, or should I say a gold commitment. It's very expensive to get into. And if you are a beginner, you probably have a lot more time than you have gold. And these Old World markets, or just any other market, can be super beneficial. Even out of the realm of crafting, if you do not want to sit on the auction house all day, granted, you don't have to do that if you do crafting, but if you just do not like the auction house, get into farming. If you generally enjoy running dungeons, then get into transmog. If you are somebody who likes to do a ton of alt stuff, get into garrisons. Do your callings every day for raw gold. Get into mission tables. Zanjaful has some great tutorials about mission tables. He tells you how to set them up, how much gold he's making, and trust me, it's a lot of gold. So, at the end of the day, a lot of people talk about legendaries, a lot of people share legendaries, but you have to realize that legendaries are not everything. At the end of this expansion, more than likely, legendaries are going to be over. Of course, if they continue it into 10.0, that's a different story. But every expansion kind of has their, main item. And for Shadowlands, it's mostly legendaries. So if you set yourself up, let's say you do get into the old world, you are a lot better off in terms of stability going into the new expansion, because no matter what expansion it is, old world's gonna sell. But everybody who has all of their eggs in one basket in legendaries are gonna ultimately have to switch up their markets into whatever's hot in the latest expansion. So keep that in mind. You do not have to do legendaries to make gold, and I just want to make sure people know that. Now, of course, I do sell legendaries, but I sell a ton of things besides that. I didn't mention this before, but of course, pets are also one of my favorite sellers. But yeah, guys, that is basically it for this video. I know this wasn't really an in-game tutorial or anything like that. It was kind of me just talking to you guys. But hopefully, if any of you had thoughts about these things or was worrying about gold making or anything, hopefully this gave you a little bit more confidence and guided you into a direction to hopefully increase your gold making. But as always, everybody, if you would like, feel free to like and subscribe if you want to see more of my content. It truly does help me out. And of course, feel free to join the Discord down below if you'd like to be a part of our amazing community. We are nearing almost 2,600 members on the Discord, which is absolutely insane. But thank you guys for everything, and of course, have a good day.